Do you know the wishing diner? The dishes served there can help spirits fulfill the last wish they carried in life. And once their story ends, that story itself becomes an ingredient, the finest kind of seasoning. My name is Pham Hu Ku. 20 years ago, my master took me in on a stormy night. He was the 18th generation lord of hunger and thirst, a man versed in yin and yang. And fate itself, a true adept. In this age of charlatans, even a real adept has to worry about his next meal. You're listening to a story on Hecate audio. He taught me to cook. He was dead serious when he said, "You can be mediocre at sorcery, but you must master cooking, because a good cook will never starve." When I turned 18, my master hosted a feast for black and white impermanents and arranged for me to join the underworld's central office as a trainee administrator. For someone like me, disciple of a great master, that was the equivalent of getting into a top university down there. During that banquet, black impermanents, whom we call Lord 8, decided to give me a new name on the spot. My childhood name, Phan Thong, meaning rice bucket, was changed to Pham Hu Ku, Pham who saves. Lord 8 laughed and said, "From now on, you'll be Little 9 of the underworld." As the feast ended, he burped, waved lazily, and said, "Little 9, I look forward to your promotion someday." I sighed. Promotion meant death, quite literally. Some blessing that was. After leaving the mountain, I accidentally helped a few rich clients handle certain supernatural disturbances, the sort of cases you read about in urban legends, and earned a tidy sum. I used that money to open a private diner that served only spirits. With my spells, I allow them one last chance to taste mortal food before descending to the underworld to be reborn. Honestly, part of it is because I love cooking. The rest is because I want to guide those wandering souls onward. March. Waking of insects. My guest that night came in and said, "Master, I still can't let go." "Don't call me master," I told him from the kitchen. "Call me Little 9, or just Pham." He was a pale man, sitting dreamily at the table. "Ah, so your surname's Pham, huh? Chef Pham. Sounds like a comedian's name." I shot him a look. "What's that supposed to mean?" "So," I asked, "what would you like for your final meal?" He sighed. "Anything's fine. I'm not really here to eat. I just need your enlightenment." Clearly, the man wasn't interested in my cooking at all. Probably had something else festering inside. I shrugged. "Then talk. I'll listen while I cook." He stared into space. "I told you, I still can't let go." I slammed my knife down on the cutting board. The sound made him flinch. "Hold on." I took a glass from the shelf, placed it in his hand, and poured in boiling water. "Can you let go now?" He furrowed his brow, unbothered. "You forget, I'm a ghost. We can't feel heat, just like my heart, dead and broken." I rolled my eyes, snapped my fingers, and murmured, "Manifest." At once, his translucent body solidified into flesh. "Hot, hot, hot," he yelled, dropping the glass and shaking his hand. "There, much better. Still want to play tragic hero with me?" After I wiped the table, he stopped pretending and began his story. His voice burbled faintly, as if it rose through water. "I was a writer, a backpacker, a bar owner, a folk singer, an amateur leather craftsman, a part-time silversmith, a show host. I even ran a goat soup shop." "Enough." I waved my knife at him. "My diner's small, it can't seat that many versions of you." That shut him up. Finally, we got to the point. His name was Vong Naim. Months ago, he'd gone on a road trip to Tibet. At the foot of the Jiao Lap Pass, he saw the most unforgettable sight of his life, a turquoise glacier lake beneath a snowy peak, mirroring countless blooms of gazong flowers, and the girl standing among them. She wore a pale pink jacket and sunglasses. The moment he noticed her, she seemed to sense it, removed her glasses, and met his gaze. Just one glance, and he knew he'd fallen in love. He rushed forward to greet her, but the mountain was real. The lake was real. The flowers were real. Only the girl was an illusion. From that day on, he drove across all of Tibet searching for her. In a world that vast, how could he ever find what wasn't real? He grew obsessed. His mind unraveled. One day, lost in thought behind the wheel, He crashed head-on with a freight truck. Dead on the spot. With a thud, he fell to his knees before me. Master, please. I know you have power. Let me see her one last time. Gone was the dreaminess, his eyes now burned with grief. I helped him to his feet and said quietly, the dead can't return to the living. Even if you find her, what then? He smiled sadly. I know it's pointless, but just once, just one more look would be enough. I studied him for a long moment. All right, I'll help you, just this once. I closed my eyes and murmured a spell. Vong Naeem's karmic threads unfurled in my mind. The girl was a flash of color across his life. Nothing more. By rights, their paths should never cross again. When I opened my eyes, I smiled. You and she still have one destined meeting left. Really? Joy lit his face, then faltered. When will I see her? I took a sachet of red bean and ka tea from the shelf and tossed it into the glass he'd just burned his hand on. Drink. The red beans were left by a previous guest. Red beans symbolize longing. Drink. And you can meet the one you yearn for. He didn't hesitate and drained it in one go. He failed to notice that the crescent crystal chandelier overhead was shining into the glass. What he'd seen was only a trick of the light. I pointed to the refrigerator. Through there lies the underworld. Reincarnate, and in your next life, the two of you will have that one fated meeting. In the next life? He froze. The next life, then the next life. He steeled himself, bowed, and stepped into the refrigerator. After he left, I picked up his glass and couldn't help a sigh. The red beans hadn't even steeped. What he drank was plain water, clear. Tasteless. He never touched the sour, spicy, salty, sweet of my kitchen, only a glass of nothing. All of it, a dream. A week later, scrolling short videos, I stumbled on a beautiful travel blogger at Lake Lagu. She stood in a sea of flowers, telling the camera, I love Gazong most. March at Lagu. When they're in full bloom. She reached out and brushed a petal with her fingertip. That stem was Vong Naeem. Newly reborn, they had met, at last. From then on, in this life and the next, their lines would never intersect again. Vong Naeem's story became a Gazong blossom. I placed it on my pantry shelf and waited for the next guest. April, Qingming. Rain had been falling for days. I disliked going out in weather like this. So I curled up in the diner and tinkered with a new dish. Honeyed lotus root, water chestnut cut into small dice, taro peeled and steamed. I wanted to make a dessert. When the prep was done, the door chime gave a soft ring. Another guest. A woman in her 30s stepped in, plainly dressed. I noticed how careful her movements were, cautious, earnest. When her hand passed straight through the door handle, she froze. Come in, I said. Have something to eat. She stared at me, bewildered. Am I? You've died. I'm dead? Her voice was small. Didn't you notice? She thought a long time. I remember working at the factory. A machine failed. A piece of shrapnel pierced my abdomen. Then I was rushed to emergency. She looked stunned. So I wasn't saved. I died. Please sit. I gestured to the chair. She perched on the edge, still wary. You can see me. Are you a Taoist priest? I fetched eggs and milk, cracked shells, separated whites into a bowl, started whisking. Not a priest, obviously a cook. She didn't know how to answer my joke and sat in silence. Soon the only sound was the brisk rhythm of whisk on bowl. After a long while, her throat tightened. I really died. I poured in milk and kept whisking. Strictly speaking, not yet. Her eyes flickered back to life. Not yet? Really? I opened the refrigerator and slid in the now half-set meringue. Then closed the door. Right now your soul is separated from your body. I'm guessing your flesh is still in the poised between life and death. Out of danger? Not yet. She shot to her feet. If I go back, can I live? Sorry, going back now won't change anything. Pray for a successful resuscitation. Otherwise, returning only means dying again. Her strength fled and she collapsed into the chair. I'm no good at comforting the living or the dead. So I did what I could. Finish the dish and wait with her for whatever news might come. She turned toward the door and watched the rain. Time ticked by. I glanced at the wall clock. Then took the chilled ingredients from the fridge. Honeyed lotus root, water chestnut, and steamed taro, mixed and pounded until supple. I rolled the paste into neat spheres and coated each with a thick, snowy layer of meringue. I set a wok on the stove, poured the oil. The fritters were ready to meet the heat. Just then, she seemed to remember something and spoke, oddly calm. "Why is it raining again?" "My name is Lou Ann," she said. "My mother told me it poured the day I was born." My father ran home through the downpour, took one look, saw I was a girl, and slammed the door and left. When I was 8, mother fell ill. I went alone to fetch the clinic doctor. The rain that day was like a waterfall, washing away what I could see, and what I could bear to remember. I came home to find my mother dead on the bed. At 24, on my wedding day, the rain turned the village roads to mud. My husband carried me so my dress wouldn't be stained. The house was packed with joy and noise. He said, "The weather's bad today. When we have money, we'll choose a sunny day and give you the wedding you deserve." 6 years later, when life had finally begun to brighten, he left me. He was hurrying home to make our son's 2nd birthday, and a car knocked him into a pool of rainwater. When my son turned 3, I took him with me to find work. The workshop sat right off the road. I looked away for a moment, he vanished. I searched all day. Nothing. I fainted in the street. Thunder shook the sky. I thought, lightning, strike me down. I don't want to live. But I had to. I had to find my boy. For 2 years I ran everywhere. Spent every yuan. When I ran out, I worked 2 months' wages. Then on the road again. I never found him. And now I've gone first. She drifted toward the door. It's raining again today. Why does it feel like the rain that started when I was born, never stopped? Like it has fallen across my whole life. She sobbed, then broke, bending double in tears, her thin frame smaller still. My life has been so hard. I let her cry everything out, grief, fear, the weight of it all, then went to her and helped her gently to her feet. "The food's ready. Come eat." She shook her head. "Thank you, I don't want to. Just a little, maybe the weather will change." A few minutes later, my insisting won out. She sat. I brought over a plate piled with golden, round fritters, fresh from the oil, still whispering steam. My new dish, snow milk taro fritters. She picked one up and tasted it. Delicious, sweet and fragrant. "Good," I said, smiling. "You've suffered enough. Have something sweet." "What's this?" She tapped a petal in the dish with her chopsticks. "A gazong petal." Gazong means happiness. That's why I call these happiness fritters. She gave a faint, helpless laugh, as if speaking to me and to herself. With a life like mine, can I still have happiness? Heaven doesn't seal off every road, I said. Even if the storm seems endless, no matter how hard it pours, it will stop. Someday. The clock kept ticking. It was time. I touched her shoulder and nodded toward the door. "Look," I said softly, "the rain has stopped." At that very moment, in a hospital blazing with light, doctors and nurses stared at one another in relief. The surgeon pulled off his mask. Eyes wet. "We did it," he whispered. "We got her back." We stood together in the corridor outside. She looked from the doors to me, trembling. You knew I'd be saved, didn't you?" I smiled. "Remember the gazong petals? Beyond happiness. Gazong also means auspice." She burst into tears. "I don't even know how to thank you." I nudged her, steering her gently toward the emergency room. "It's all right, Ms. Liu. Go back. When you wake, maybe things will turn for the better." I watched her slip back toward her body, then felt 2 shadows loom behind me. Black and white impermanence arrived, grumbling. "Little 9, we did you a big favor, showed up late on purpose. You owe us." I chuckled and turned on the charm. "Lord 7, Lord 8, swing by in a couple of days. Order anything you like." They sniffed. "That will do." When the 2 elders had gone, I shaped a final seal and murmured, "Once Ms. Liu is discharged, I should ask for her child's birth hour." May, beginning of summer. My diner is usually closed during the day. Yet this morning I welcomed 2 guests. Ms. Liu Ann had finally found her son and brought the chubby, adorable boy to see me. She set down a basket of fruit. Then, without prompting, grabbed a rag and broom and started cleaning. The boy sat nearby, glancing between his mother and me. Ms. Liu, I said, smiling. You're not fully recovered. No need to trouble yourself. I can tidy up. She waved me off as she wiped the tables. It's no trouble. You didn't just save me, you helped reunite us. And last week you even found me a well-paid housekeeping job. Let me do something, or I won't know how to repay you. I let her continue, otherwise, she'd only feel more indebted. At noon, I laid out a table full of dishes made from the ingredients she'd brought. Over lunch, I asked, he's about school age, isn't he? Yes, she said, he can start primary school next year. I teased the boy like a doting uncle. What do you want to study? Any dreams? He answered without hesitation. Anything's fine, as long as I grow up to be useful to society. Oh, I couldn't help laughing. Pretty sharp for someone so little. That's what my mom says. He replied. She says there are many people who suffer like we did. And they need help. So I should take Uncle Pham as my example and become someone who helps others. Good. I poured 2 small glasses of juice and clinked his like it was a solemn toast. That afternoon, after they left, I opened the pantry shelf. Inside a clear glass vial lay 2 tears, the tears of hardship Miss Liu had shed that night. Let them remain here, I thought, so the suffering stays behind in this diner. May the rest of her life be happiness and auspice. Night fell. I waited for the next guest. Unlocked the door, welcomed them in. Chun, grain in ear. Tonight's guest looked like a tycoon, a bald man in his 30s. Gold chain gleaming, temper already sour. Damn it, he snarled, dead and still not at peace. Had to drag myself to your place. What would you like to eat? I asked mildly. He glanced around. What have you got? Most things are possible. He didn't hesitate. I'm about to reincarnate, so bring on the dumplings. And the fish and the beef, everything. I rolled my eyes and reached for the flower. Of all my patrons, this one might be the heartiest, and the least polite. He sat cross-legged on the chair and soon asked, Got wine? No, I said without turning, only tea. His eyes had already snagged on the jars lining the shelf. He gave a petulant little laugh. Don't lie, you've got wine. Pour me a cup, I can pay. I turned and smiled without smiling. You can pay? Of course I can. I've never, he stopped. Dawning realization creeping in. Do you take money from the living or the dead? I don't take money, I said, and the wine is reserved, for those who need it. Who knew your diner was a charity? Seeing I was cooking for free, he managed an awkward chuckle and let the wine go. I poured him tea and told him to sit tight. I had 2 mains to finish and a mountain of dumplings to wrap. The only sound was my knife tapping rhythm across the board. Pork and cabbage filling, seasoned and folded until fragrant. I'd already braised a pot of soy braised beef, it only needed slicing. The sea bass from this morning's market was gutted, cleaned, and waiting in the steamer. He watched me roll the dumpling skins, then burst into a strange laugh. Why did I blurt out dumplings? I wonder. My hands paused for a beat. Want to change your main? No, he said, drumming a finger on the table. It's just that, 3 hours ago my parents made dumplings too. You didn't eat? No, we argued. I stormed out to drink. Judging by the beer belly, he was no stranger to benders. You were drinking, so how did you die? He winced. Got into it with some friends at the table. Drank too much. Head went fuzzy, and that was it. Hot temper at home, hot temper outside, I said, sliding another cup of tea toward him. Drink. Cool down. He sighed. I don't want to quarrel, but I can't help it. You don't know, my parents nag me every day about my business. We fight constantly, and those dumplings, I'm sick of them. Every few days it's dumplings again. I spread my hands in a helpless gesture. He hurried to add, no offense, brother, keep wrapping. When the skins were ready, I dusted off my hands and pulled the filling from the fridge. He fell quiet, watching my fingers work, plump crescents lined up on the board. He cleared his throat. Want me to help? You know how? Please, I was wrapping dumplings before you were born. I chuckled. All right, wash up. Then it's your turn. His hands were deft, quicker than mine. And the tray filled in no time. The sea bass steamed to perfection. I gave it 2 extra minutes. then poured on oyster sauce. The pan hissed. The platter went to the table. I gestured for him to start on the braised beef and the fish while I boiled the dumplings. He took a bite of beef, chewed, and blinked. "You're good. First time I've had beef this tender. You look like a man who's eaten at plenty of fancy places," I said. "Didn't expect you to praise food from a hole in the wall." "Fancy places are for deals," he said, demolishing half the fish. "Once the wine flows, even good food tastes like nothing. When we were poor, the best thing was dumplings, or, sometimes, a small piece of beef my mother braised. So you built yourself up from nothing." A glint of pride. "That's right. Back then, we had barely a few dozen yuan to our name. I clawed my way up with sheer grit. Now I've got everything." He lowered his head. "Had everything. Now, nothing. Still, with what I earned, my parents won't suffer in their old age." "You care about them," I said. "Nonsense. And yet you fight?" He set his chopsticks down, a faraway look crossing his face. "When we were poor, I got bullied a lot. I used to resent being born into that family. Later, when I made my first big money, I hated them more. Their earnings in years couldn't match a single deal of mine. I worked myself to the bone and never had a real home. The more I thought about those hard years, the angrier I got, because they stole half my life." I could feel the long-buried grievance rising from him like heat. "But it wasn't your parents who bullied you," I said softly. "It was other people." "I know that," he growled, "but I can't swallow it. Why did they let half my life go to waste? And then cling to me every day nagging? Have you ever sat down and spoken to them calmly?" He gave a hollow laugh. "We don't speak. We can't. So you quarreled with everyone else instead. Anyone would do." He tapped his chest. "It's not my temper. It's just, people can't understand each other. That's all." The dumplings were done. I brought them out, then lifted a small ladle of liquor from a jar by his elbow. "Drink." He frowned. "Didn't you say no alcohol?" "I never said that. This one is on me." He tossed it back without blinking, and grimaced. "Why is it so bitter?" He fell silent and ate, dumpling after dumpling, until the plates were bare. Staring at the empty porcelain, he said at last, "What was that wine?" "The wine doesn't matter," I said, clearing the table. "Did anything pass through your mind?" He squeezed his eyes shut. His voice shook. "I saw my parents when they were young. Not the way I remember them. No pinched faces. No stooped backs. I saw things I never knew. They could have had a good life. But because of me." Drip, drip. The big bald man wept quietly. He opened reddened eyes and said, very calmly, "I want to go home for dinner." It was time. He had to go. And then, he was gone. That wine had been brewed with Ms. Lu's tears of suffering. Drink it. And the world's human joys and sorrows flood the mind. In his last moment, he wanted to go home. To apologize. But he was already dead. That wish could not be kept. For a while I considered having him write a letter to his parents. Then slipping it into his room so they'd find it. In the end, I didn't. It would only crush them further. The apology meant for his parents would remain forever unsaid. Early July. Lesser heat. In the north, July doesn't bite yet. The air is mild. I lounged on my rocking chair, idle and content. The wind chime at the door tinkled, and I glanced toward the entrance. A young woman in office attire, just past 20, peered curiously into the layout of the diner. We met eyes. I waved her closer. "Oh, you can see me?" She turned to the street, then back to me, amazed. I was momentarily speechless. Apparently she found it entertaining that the living couldn't see her. "This is a diner for spirits only," I said. "I'll make your last meal, then send you on to reincarnate." "Really?" She hurried over, stood before me, pinched my cheek, and inspected me left and right. "Fascinating. So the dead actually get reincarnated? Then you must be an underworld runner. Let me get a good look." Hey, don't muss the hair." I gently pushed her aside. Honestly, I'd never seen anyone so cheerful about being dead, curious. Even. Noticing my stare, she flushed. "This is my first time dying. So, pardon the faux pas. Hee. Heaven help me. As if other spirits had practice at dying." I headed for the kitchen and tossed the question over my shoulder. "What'll it be?" I'll cook. She toyed with the vegetables on the counter, eyes roaming, then ventured, how about hot pot? I've been craving it for days, but never had the time. Done. Hot pot is simpler than a la carte. I said nothing more, pulled out a purple bronze yuan yang pot, one side plain broth with a few slices of ginger, the other a scarlet mala base. While I sautéed the spice mix, she drifted closer, bored. Master, let me slice the greens. A flash of the dumpling wrapping fellow crossed my mind, and I smiled. All right, just don't nick your fingers. The hood hummed, the fiery aroma bled away through the vent, leaving behind the layered perfume of chilies and spice. Her knife work was deft, clearly. She cooked now and then. She inhaled deeply. Smells amazing. I preened. I'm a very talented cook. You know. So which is it? She teased. Underworld runner or chef? As I worked, I told her my story, from that stormy night in childhood to the parade of spirit guests who dined here. That's incredible, like a movie, she said, wonder-eyed. Then her face softened, a shade of sadness creeping in. Not like me. My life was gray, 2 points in a line, home and office, and endless overtime that meant nothing. Oh, you don't look the type. I'd have guessed a freer, happier workplace. She brushed hair from her brow and sighed. Is it just my energetic look, fooling people? I nodded. If I didn't stay upbeat, she said, the job would have broken me. Fair, I said, smiling. The spice base was ready. We set the pot in the center and surrounded it with bowls and plates. Soon the broth bubbled. Amid the steam, we dug in. She fished up a slice of spicy beef and murmured, so good. I meant to have hot pot tonight. Thanks for making that wish come true. I took the opening. So, how did tonight happen? Her name was Li Lac, a transplant from another province. Her name, Lac, Joy, had fit her once. She'd been sunny, sincere, the clown of her friend group. But after graduation, as she met the world, she laughed less and less. She couldn't understand why people dealt in trickery and calculation. Every exchange felt like slamming into a steel wall. No one believed her sincerity. No one had time to care. Everyone busy with their own tiny universe. After a colleague backstabbed her and a boss boxed her in, she quit in a fury and jumped to a new company, no better than the last. The frequent moves hurt her chances. She swallowed it. Under pressure day after day, she grew numb. At work she fell quiet. Only after hours did she coax herself back into feeling like a person. Today, she'd finally decided to resign and find something she truly loved. But, while waiting for a ride downstairs, something fell from above and struck her skull. Yes, she was killed by a falling object. On the very day she decided to start over. Life's sense of humor is vicious. She set down her chopsticks and stared into space. Minutes later, she asked, since you opened, you've never had a death as absurd as mine, have you? I topped off her iced tea and scratched my head. Storms blow. People get killed by falling things more often than you think. May your next life be truly joyful. Thanks. She clinked my cup, took a long swallow, and turned toward the refrigerator. Halfway there, something tugged at me, the invisible tug of a crooked line of fate. I formed a seal and traced Li Lac's thread. Wait, I cut her off. Something's wrong. She turned, wary. What is it? Your death, I said, has a problem. I sat her back down. Tell me everything, today. From the beginning. Still puzzled, she began, slowly. The only unusual thing today was that I helped someone demand back wages from our boss, and I resigned. You helped someone demand wages? She bristled. You have no idea what a bastard he is. Earlier, she'd gone to the restroom and caught a glimpse of the security guard's WeChat. Recognizing the chat window, she asked. On the screen was a single message. Boss. My son starts school soon. Please pay my 2 months of wages. Rage detonated. She'd already resigned. What was there to fear? For the first time, she yelled in the office, dragged the boss out, and chewed him up one side and down the other. Humiliated, he lunged, but she dodged and ran. At the door, she threw a parting shot. Men like you, I'll sue you tomorrow. I'll post everything you've done for the world to see. He roared after her. Just you wait. I'll kill you. She looked at me, Realization dawning. You mean, my boss? Then she shook her head. He's vile. But murder? And wasn't it an accident? A stone fell from above. It did, I said quietly, because he pushed it. The spell had shown it clearly, as she waited downstairs. The boss stomped up to the rooftop to smoke off his shame. He glanced down and saw her below. Pure coincidence. A loose stone lay right there. No cameras on the roof or nearby buildings. Rage does strange things. It can shear through one's fear of law and life. He pushed. So that's it, she whispered. Fists tightening. I want to find him. Revenge? I asked. She said nothing, answer enough. By rule, I said as I walked to the pantry. The dead can't return to harm the living. Her face fell. But, I added, every rule has room to bend. Her eyes lit. Lilac, you can't kill him. But you can frighten him. And didn't you want to recover wages for that cleaning auntie? You can do both at once. I plucked a cluster of chilies from the shelf and handed it to her. Leave this at the company. Tomorrow it'll be useful. She bowed, took the chilies, and went. I lifted the spirit mirror to track her. Her figure bloomed on the glass, in a luxury condo. She locked the door behind the boss, stalking him like a cat. He pinballed around, screaming. The sultry mistress flailed helplessly. Turn yourself in, now. Lilac snarled, or I'll cling to you day and night until you beg for death. Facing the menace she conjured, the boss didn't dare defy her. He crawled to the police station. That night, officers examined the rooftop. The autopsy rushed through. The conclusion: homicide by provocation. Sentencing would come, but even without a death penalty, the rest of his life would be spent in a cell. At dawn, the city woke to a headline: a company boss, enraged by a departing employee, had killed her and surrendered that very night. Co-workers swarmed the media with stories: unpaid wages, harassment, tax evasion. From the newsrooms, they marched to a law firm and filed a mass suit. All of it streamed live. Netizens asked why not earlier or later, why now? Altogether, they didn't know it was the chilies. The bald man's story had become a bunch of peppers. Their power was to ignite anger and grievance. Under the live cameras, the workers called out to everyone watching, your life is yours. You can choose it. Unite, and resist injustice in the workplace. It hit the hot search. Would it change anything? I didn't know. As the saying goes, life is a choice, and when other workers meet violence at work, what will they choose? That's their own road to walk. After breakfast, I led Lilac to the refrigerator to send her on. That familiar smile bloomed again. Is this your first time sending a spirit off in broad daylight? I thought. Seems like it. She high-fived me and strode into the fridge. Bang. Ow. She clutched her forehead. Why isn't your fridge working? I blinked. Then messaged Lord 7 and Lord 8. The reply came fast. During the day. My diner's fridge is just a fridge. No connection to the underworld. We stared at each other. Silence. You're listening to us like the Milky Way Bridge on Lover's Night. After a while, she laughed. Looks like I'm mooching another day of meals. She patted my shoulder, mumbling menu items, insisting she'd cook with me. I realized it was nice to have someone bustling in the kitchen. After a moment, I said, there is something. Every senior underworld runner gets a stipend for an assistant. I've been looking for help around the diner. She blinked, eyes sliding sideways as she feigned nonchalance. Requirements? Some cooking background would be best. If not, I'll teach you. Personality. Upbeat. Kind. A sense of fun. Oh, and this is important. I don't withhold pay or bully staff. What's the compensation? Meals included. Night folded over the city. Every day. Somewhere, someone leaves this world. Tonight's guest, after eating with gusto, glanced between Lilac and me. So your place is really like this. Bet you've got loads of stories. I drummed the tabletop. Such as? Eyes shining. He said, like, heavenly masters battling western demons. Or a Taoist descending the mountain to tame a domineering CEO. Or summoning 100 ghosts to smite an ancestral enemy. He rattled on. I felt a black vein pulsing on my forehead. None of that has anything to do with me. He scratched his head. Huh? But that's what the popular web novels do. My place is only everyday tales. I said. Like the home-style dishes you just ate. He curled his lip. Then if someone wrote your stories, no one would read them. I smiled faintly and looked toward the pantry shelf, where the stories of my guests once sat. I remember them all.